AITA for making homemade food for everyone except my brother's stepdaughter? I, 27F, am not a professional chef, but I have taken a bunch of cooking classes and love making elaborate meals for friends and family. About 2 years ago, my brother, Greg, 25M, married Cheryl, 34F. Cheryl has a daughter from a previous relationship, Becca, 9F, who has several health conditions, including celiac and a severe dairy allergy that requires her to carry an EpiPen. Last weekend I hosted a dinner at my house for my parents' wedding anniversary. I made a fancy 5-course dinner, and in addition to my parents, I invited 4 close family friends, Greg, Cheryl and Becca, and my sister, her boyfriend and their twins, both 8M. Because of Becca's food restrictions, I found a restaurant in town that specializes in gluten-free, dairy-free, as well as other allergen-free food, and arranged for them to make a full meal for Becca that I could pick up in advance of the party. I have made a variety of specialty meals in the past. For example, keto meals when my friend was following that diet, and I liked the challenge. But knowing how serious Becca's restrictions were, I didn't trust myself to make her meal. I have ADHD and get easily distracted. And if I even used the wrong spoon or didn't completely wash some flour off a bowl, it could make her incredibly sick. I thought the takeout solution was fine. But when I served the food, I saw Cheryl looking at Becca's plate with a stony face. For her part, Becca started eating and seemed fine. Cheryl whispered to Greg, and Greg asked if he could talk to me in the kitchen. When we got there, he said that it was unbelievable that I couldn't be bothered to make something for Becca, that they'd been bragging about what a great cook I am to her, and that he knew I'd made keto, vegan, and other complicated kinds of food in the past. Now she would feel left out because she didn't get to eat what the rest of the family was eating. He said that it was obvious that I didn't care about making his stepdaughter feel like a part of the family, and that they were leaving. Greg, Cheryl and Becca then left, which put a damper on the rest of the party. I felt like I did my best at the time, but in hindsight, I wonder if I should have tried harder to make Becca feel included, since she is a relatively new addition to our family. AITA? With all of those allergies and conditions that Becca has, Cheryl should have been calling you and asking you what she can do to help with this dinner regarding feeding her own daughter. That is certainly what I would have done. I have a teenage son who has severe allergies and celiac, as well as IBS. I have never have gone anywhere without discussing what the choices are for his meal and whether or not I should be providing it when we go along. Cheryl is the awe. Your brother is caught up in her behavior and is also the awe. Your behavior was kind, thoughtful, and generous. NTA. I thought that was a great solution and honestly thought this was going another way. Other kids wanted takeout, lol. Did your brother understand the reason why you ordered her a special meal? That you were concerned about doing something that might make her sick? My sil has food restrictions and I have never heard her say anything but appreciation when others have done something similar for her. NTA. If you accidentally made a keto meal wrong, it would upset their diet. It sounds like if you made Becca's meal incorrectly, she could have a major medical issue. You're not wrong for not wanting that stress on you. So let me get this straight. Your brother called you an AH because you didn't try to kill his stepdaughter? Cross-contamination is a real thing. Is he really expecting you to create an elaborate meal for multiple guests? Then clean every single inch of your kitchen. Possibly buy new utensils. Make the meal again adjusted for all their requirements and pray that you don't mess up? Better safe with ordering than trying to accommodate and end up in the NTA. You were an extremely generous and thoughtful host if her allergies are so severe. I can't imagine why on earth wouldn't they check with you in advance what's the plan for dinner. Their entitlement is astonishing. NTA. Celiac and dairy allergies are no joke. And while it's certainly possible to make a gluten and dairy-free meal in a regularly home kitchen, there's always a possibility of contamination. You did what you thought was safest. They're the odds for overreacting and making the event all about them. Especially when it seems like Becca wasn't bothered. For some reason, I read that and felt sad for you. I'm honestly in disbelief you thought you did something wrong. You were incredibly thoughtful in how you handled ensuring she had a meal suitable for her. You have ADHD and are well aware that mistakes are so easily made, so to ensure you didn't seriously put this child's health in danger, you decided the safest option was to contact a restaurant to provide something. I can't stress this enough. You are NTA. Ask Greg if he wants a living child eating a takeaway meal prepared safely in an allergen-free kitchen by specialist chefs because his sister was sensible, weighed up the risks and knew it wasn't worth it. Or his daughter wheezing and turning blue, trying to use her EpiPen and potentially ending up in hospital or even dying because his sister took a risk with his daughter's health? Because that's what it's a choice between. ETA. Allergen-free cooking for someone whose life depends on eating safe food is a whole different kettle of fish. No pun intended. To cooking for someone who has voluntarily decided to cut a foodstuff out of their diet. Absolutely NTA. Brother and Sil are tush. NTA. Listen, I have kids with severe food allergies. Do you know how every invitation to anyone's house starts? With having a conversation about food strategy. And usually me offering to bring something special for my kids. Because I do not want to make extra work for the host. And number one priority, I want my kids safe. And not just one time. Every time. People not living the allergy parent life forget things. Assuming someone else is going to understand how to safely prepare food for a person with allergies without a conversation is a recipe for a trip to the ER. How would the conversation have gone if she had a reaction from cross-contamination? Info. What is usually done for Becca's meals? In the 2+ years she's been part of the family? NTA. My husband found out last year that he has celiac. And it has been a challenge to adjust our shopping and cooking habits. We had consultations with a dietitian and it is unbelievable the ways that gluten can get into food. Your Sil should be grateful that you took so much consideration for her daughter's health by assuring that she got a meal free of allergens. NTA, but you brother and Sil are. NTA. You did take into account her dietary restrictions and did your best to ensure that she would have a delicious meal provided to her that would be safe for her to eat. It sounds to me like there's more at issue here than the meal though. Just based on the language that was used and some of the details of the story. I don't want to make too many assumptions. But Cheryl sounds like a piece of work. NTA. I think what you did to get her that meal was amazing and so thoughtful of you. If someone did this for my stepkids, I would be thrilled. Anyone saying your TA is seriously messed up. The child didn't seem to mind and still got to eat. Plenty of other people wouldn't have done what you did. Brother and Sil sound ungrateful. NTA. There's a difference between a preference and a safety requirement. If you made a mistake, it could have seriously injured this poor girl. You don't operate an allergen-free kitchen and your brother should be grateful that you ensured a safe, quality meal for her. NTA. This is not a "ew, I don't eat spinach and I hate mushrooms" kind of thing. This is a potentially life-threatening thing. People who are this allergic can get a reaction from simple cross-contamination. I would not have risked it either. You paid for professionals to provide her a safe and yummy meal. It's weird that her parents would rather risk her allergies to get her a homemade meal so that she's eating what everyone else eats instead of her actually getting a special meal so she didn't get sick or die. You were cautious and didn't want to risk it. Good on you. And if something were to happen if you made it homemade, they would blame you for it. NTA. Do they even like their daughter? You had every good reason not to cook for her. I don't enjoy cooking, but I can. And I made a great celiac-friendly meal for a couple friends once. I thought I did everything right. But my buddy was still sick at the end of the night. Luckily it was just discomfort. But it could have been worse. Now I refuse to cook for people who have serious allergies. I will not be responsible for making someone sick. And if that makes me a bad guy, I'll gladly be the villain. NTA. Watch out for your Sil. The overreaction seems like she's looking for reasons to alienate him from your family. They just left? No discussion or possibility for solution. That's what stands out to me the most. NTA. You went out of your way to make sure she had food that was safe to eat. If she can go into anaphylaxis from a cooking mistake, it's understandable if you didn't want to take the very real risk of her food getting cross-contamination. Even if you cook the entire meal to the specifications, her food could have been contaminated by residual allergens in your environment. I think the only thing you could have done to avoid what happened would be to have given your brother a heads up that you were ordering her food from a specialty restaurant because you weren't confident you could cook food that wouldn't make your niece sick. It was very bad manners for them to even make an issue of it during the dinner. If they had a problem with what you did, they could have addressed it with you privately at some point later. NTA. You took her situation into account. You made a special meal for your parents. Knowing that your step-niece couldn't enjoy it, you went out of your way to ensure she had something special just for her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.